We always talk about white people killing black people, but we don't talk enough about black on black crime. We kill each other.
My life matters.
Kansas City is different.
Stuff can happen at a moment.
My life matters.
Say if somebody made me mad, I do the first thing that comes to my mind.
My life matters.
We just go and just retaliate now, or just get revenge on anything.
My life matters.
I mean, we've got about 170 homicides already in the city this year.
My life matters.
I saw the news, and an 11-year-old girl was shot and killed, and that's all I saw.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing? This is exciting times, exciting times. Hopefully you all can hear me okay. It looks good on OBS, and I'm excited today. I'm excited. We got a lot to go over, and it is going to be fun. Welcome to everybody online. We've got Chris Leong on from the Philippines. Welcome, my friend. We got Christopher on from the Netherlands, aka North Carolina. And then we've also got my man, Mr. Brian Richards on from Michigan. Welcome, welcome. We got Big L S305 on as well. Welcome, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, hopefully you all are ready to learn and contribute in a fun way. We're going to have a good time and discuss some free show stuff. And today's going to be a little different because there's a couple things. I got to actually hit the road to go to North Carolina. We're going to be doing a workshop at a conference called Renewing Worship. So Free Show is going to be there. Church Apps is going to be there. Christopher is going to be there. Mike is going to be there from Church Apps, and I will be there. We're looking forward to doing that. It's going to be fun. And so after this meeting is over, I'm going to load up the car and head on out. So today is going to be different though. So we usually do a review. We'll do that. We also typically would do like a beginning, an intermediate, and an advanced level discussion. Today is going to kind of be a hodgepodge because one thing I realized is that I've never gone over all the features of Free Show that are listed on the website. But today that's going to change. So we're going to go over all the features of the website. I didn't put this up. Let me make sure I got the title in there. Let's make sure it'll work. There we go. So we're going over all the features of Free Show that are based on the website. And the reason that's important is because that's likely one of the things that drew you to Free Show is you went to the website and you saw those features and you're like, hey, that looks interesting. Let me check it out. Let me see how it works and let me learn more about it. And then you ran across some other videos and tutorials or whatever it was, and you started getting involved in it. But you may have never really figured out how all those things on the website actually work. So today we're going to kind of go over those as succinctly as I can. And forgive me if I'm sweating, you guys. I had a good workout in the gym and hopped in the shower, and I never really cooled down I think. But it's going to be a fun day. So post any questions as usual in the comments. I'm scrolling back and forth. Let me see here. Christopher's excited for the conference. I'm sorry, from Norway. Oh, my friend, I'm sorry. So I said the Netherlands, it's Norway, which is funny because I've been to Norway and I forget that it was Norway and not the Netherlands. We got another friend from the Netherlands that is coming to town next week at another conference I'll be at. So forgive me, Christopher. So let's talk about a recap of what happened. I don't remember if we just launched. Christopher, when did 1.5.0 that came out on, it looks like the 23rd. So this is the 26th. So it just came out this week. So let's look at that real quick and we will go from there. All right. And so you all can see that pretty nice. So we got the 1.5.0 full release. Now, what I want to do is I want to highlight some of the things that are included with it. If you've ever used the betas, you'll know there's a lot that has changed and updated and it looks super cool and it's nice and fancy. There's one thing that I found that I want to make sure you're aware of if you are using this feature to be mindful to know that it's not going to work the same in 1.5.0 just yet. And I know Christopher's working on figuring out a fix for that as soon as possible. But the 1.50 has user interface updates and it looks wonderful. I enjoyed the way that the Free Show program has evolved in that UI of it to where it just looks so cool and sleek now. And it was cool to begin with, but it looks even better. Better project video controls. And then you can convert project media into a show slide from the context menu. Now that one, Christopher, I was trying to figure out, I might need your help on that. Convert project media into a show or into show slide from the context menu. This part right here is what got me. I don't know what the context menu is. So I'm gonna need your help on that one, my friend. Convert full-size media item to background. Focus mode starts next show slide with a single next input. That one I was trying to figure out. I don't know if I had the setup properly for that one, but that one's pretty cool. Checkbox to always use local instance of PCO song. I'm believing that is Planning Center, but correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But the local instance, I believe, of the Planning Center song, and then HTTP emitter with no body data. Template cameras will only show an icon preview. I did notice that one, which is pretty cool. And then option to set output window content to black while keeping the preview visible. That to me is crazy cool because yeah, I like it. I like that a lot. And then updated some languages and some other small enhancements. And then down here, some bug fixes. Fix children not keeping style in text edit. Okay, so children text will be like in terms of the other lines will be able to keep the style. That's good. Let's see here. So Christopher says, drag a video into a project and right click it. Ah, okay. So let's check that out. Look, we here now. So let's try it out. So if I go into my, I'm in focus mode. Let me turn that off for now. And if I go to media, and he said I can drag a video in. So I'm just go to Bible projects. Oh, I actually started it. All right. So let's drag it in to a show. I'm going to do new or to a new project. And we'll call this one FreeShow Friday. What's today? 9/26. Boom. And I'm just going to drag this in. And then he says I can right click. And we got a menu here so we can play it. We can play without audio. I did see that. Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. So which one was that? That one was convert project media into a show slide from the context menu. All right. So if I were to hit play, it just starts to play. Pretty cool. Is that what you're talking about, Christopher?
Yeah, things like Armageddon or the apocalypse. You might be
Let me pause it real quick. All right. And then open the video preview and right click the video in the center. Open the video preview and right click. Ah, okay. So I can say convert to show and it puts it in. I like that. I see it. I see what you did there. I see what you did. And so basically, if you select a video, so now it won't, okay, there we go. So if you select the video and right click on it, you can convert it to a show. And that's important, I think, for the flow and the feel of it. But I do like this, the way this is improved as well. The way it looks and feels down here for the context menu, I believe is what it's called. I'm not sure. But I like the way that does too, to where it converts into a show, because this is how people typically see their videos when it comes to even their images and things like that in a program, because they're used to it being like PowerPoint or something like that. This allows you to easily make that be a part of a show as opposed to the full preview screen. Got you. And then, so going back to the, let's see if I'm gonna go back here. Let me see what else. Focus mode starts next slide show with a single next input. What's this one about? Focus mode starts next show slide with a single next. I'm guessing if you just hit the right arrow key, it'll automatically start the next show slide. Is my guess on that one. And then the project video controls look awesome. But these are all built up from also other features in the beta. So auto prevent sleep mode, paste image from the clipboard. Media can be dropped on templates and overlays now, which is really cool. Let's see here. I'm gonna go down to the beta 3. Category, you can show category template. And then let's see here, set project section start time. I think I showed you guys that one before, which that one was really fun and cool to think about, for me at least, is that you can go here and you can make a section. I'm gonna call this videos. But in here, you can also set the time that it's supposed to start by hitting this little clock icon and say, oh, this is going to start at, look, I took my watch off. It's 11:14 now. So we're going to say it's going to start at 11:16 a.m. And I can hit enter to lock it in, and it shows up here with a countdown of how long it's going to be before you should be at that point in the presentation or the project, which is really cool. All right. Along with other things, this is beta 3, beta 2 More improvements, PowerPoint conversion stuff, action to toggle playing media, action to toggle specific output lock. That's cool. First day of week calendar option. Outputs no longer needs to restart when hidden. Let's see. We got SBU Media from South Africa. Welcome, welcome, my friend. This is exciting stuff. We're just going over the latest with FreeShow. So the full version is out. Now, one of the things that I noticed, I had somebody actually ask me this. They sent me a message and they asked me about if FreeShow allows you to do in and out points on your video, and it does. Right now in the 1.5, there's a bug where it doesn't do it on the start, but it should work on the out as well. But what that means is basically to set your in and out points or your start and end points, you can right click on any video and you can edit it. And in the edit option, you got this video drop down, and you can set a start time in seconds and an end time in seconds. So you can play the video as much or as little as you want and pick up where you want to pick up at the beginning, as opposed to having to scrub and slide it through. You can set it to where it starts at that particular time and ends at a particular time. If you use that feature, right now, from my testing on a Mac, I don't know what it's like on the Windows. I think Christopher was able to confirm it may be the same on Windows, but the start feature is a bug in it right now that is not fully functional. So be mindful of that. If you do use that feature, you may want to stay at beta 2 of 1.5.0 or stay at 1.4.9. All right, just a FY. So that's one of the things to just be mindful of that I've noticed. Everything else that I've seen is unbelievable. With the update with 1.5.0, like I said, I just love the interface. It's really clean. I just like how clean it is. All right. Any questions from this? We got Al Fronto from Ghana here again. My man Al, all the way from Ghana. We got South Africa on. We got the Philippines, Michigan, North Carolina. Welcome, 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 everybody. I'm excited to have you guys on. This week on my channel, very little activity from me, but you all have been very active. So I've been able to answer a lot of questions, which has been great. I released a video just yesterday called my top 10 new features in FreeShow. And somebody lovingly pointed out that NDI is not new. And I agree. That was just a flub on my part. But what I was thinking about, at least when I thought about it, was it has evolved since I started using it. And I didn't even mention that in the video because I was so excited about NDI. But NDI audio was not around back in October. I mean, not October, but in December when I first started using the program in 2024. And now it is. And I love it. Like I said, that's literally how I run all my audio into OBS, is through NDI from FreeShow. And so I love that feature. Let's see here. We got Brian Richards suggestion for FreeShow Friday. In your training elements, include edited instructional videos. So in the training element, in your training elements, include edited instructional videos for quick reference, maybe 3 to 5 minutes long. Users could have a similar situation for their setup. Yeah, that's something that I think is really cool. The way you're thinking about that, Brian, is something that I have to really wrap my mind around, because you asked last week about making a video about the masking that I did to create the Tiny Gary effect. And I've been forgotten about it. It's just been a crazy busy week. I don't know if you all know this or not, but I'm a media consultant. And so I got a new opportunity when I'm working with on a new project. And I also had a video project this week as well, that actually I shot it last week and I've been editing it this week, which has been fun. So I love the idea, and I'll have to keep that in mind to where it'll be some equipping for those who are, I'm not going to say you're in my shoes, but you have your own shoes and you may do some similar things that are related to the things that I do and I use FreeShow for as well. So I appreciate that. And I'll definitely keep that in mind. That'll be cool. I'm thinking I might do it like a behind the scenes at the end of each video, if that makes sense. Like it'll just be tied in and wrapped into the video, and I'll put a marker there that says, hey, BTS, like you said. I think that's what you were saying, like quick reference. I would probably tie it to the end of each video. I like that idea. We got Steve Bainey on from Ohio, representing the Ohio. Okay, all right. I have a looping background video for song lyrics. Excellent. But it seems to restart the video each time we advance slides. What's the best way to have the song show a background video? That's a great question. So let's get to this question that Steve has asked. Basically, he's got a background video and he wants it to loop, but he doesn't want it to restart every time he goes to it. So let me turn this back on and turn on our Q&A time. Is it going? There we go. All right. So that's a great question. My guess is that what you did is you went into a show. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna go to just a show that I've already created. I think there's something on this one. Yeah, okay. And so here's the song, God, I Look to You. Now, what you want is you want something that looks like this, is my guess. And I'm just playing it. You can see it in the preview there. This is kind of a motion background. If you see it there, it's kind of moving a little bit. I think I got this off of Story Loops, I think was the website. I got a video about it where you can get free motion graphics and other graphics as well. And so this is the video. When I go to my next slide, it just shows the lyrics right on top of it. And I go to my next slide, it just shows the lyrics, but the video doesn't reset every time. Now, the reason that that's the case is because the way that I added this background to it is going to likely be different than what you did. All right. So the way that I recommend that you add your backgrounds to it, because you're exactly right. You want your background to be seamless. You don't want it to change every time you change your slide. So to be mindful of that, you want to go to your media and then go to wherever you got your backgrounds at. I've got mine in a folder in here called YOLO Box Files. And I'm going to just do, I'll do video backdrops, and I'll do my new toolkit. If you're looking for some nice video backdrops that are video, I've got these on my website. You can get those as well. But the way that I do it is I actually drag this item onto the show. And I usually will make a blank slide first, and then I'll drag it onto that blank slide just to give the band time to build up, or whoever, if you're playing CDs at your church or you're playing music from the back, and there's that beginning part. And like I said, I'm not a musician, so forgive me, but the opening where there's nobody singing, but the song is beginning to play, I usually will have that be this opening slide. And then once it's time for them to start singing, I'll cut to the very first one, right? So I say that to say, if you got your sound or your lyrics and you go to edit and you put your background here, notice how if you look at my background, it took a second for it to get there because it really is not in the actual show on the edit screen. Because if I go to my items, you'll see that I only have one item. It's just one text box. It doesn't even count that background as a part of the slide because it's not a slide item. If you put your background in here on each of your slides, it's going to automatically keep resetting with each change of your slides. And my guess is that that's what you likely may have done. Let me look in here and see. Steve, let me know if that makes sense from what you ran into. Let me know. All right. Let me pull this over. Let's see. I'm gonna turn off my my lower thirds real quick. I'm gonna just do edit and edit my style, and I'm gonna just turn the slides off. All right. And so for that particular item for your shows, I'm gonna go to one that I don't. So we'll act like this is like a song. So it's here. What I would say you do is you go to your files where you have your videos, and you drag it on to that first slide. Okay. And then what ends up happening is that it's locked into the show, but it's not a part of an individual slide. It's a part of the show. All right. So now I can go here and it automatically updates and it changes to where it's showing that background. And I can go to my next page and it automatically shows. And I put some fireworks apparently on there as well from another training. So yeah, there's an action on here called fireworks, which is hilarious. And so that's how I would recommend you put those backgrounds on to make sure they don't do what you were talking about. All right. Great question. Great question. We had another question. Let's see here. My question, this is Ginsane38, maybe Jensen, but I could be wrong. Ginsane. Hello, my question is how to change the background in this app, please. All right, so to change the background. So here's the thing about it, which is so funny, because if you're not careful, it looks like the background will never change, because I can go here. So I can go to 1 Corinthians, which is another show that I've got, and it has its own background. Let me see if this one has one. 1 Corinthians 12, Romans. Okay, Romans has one too. I'll go to Romans. I'm gonna take the background out though. So I'm gonna just hit that little icon. It gets rid of the background. So Romans doesn't have a background now. It's completely black or blank in the background. If I select it the background still stays there from the last show. Okay. And so if you want to change your background, so how to change it is you want to make sure that your show has a background on it, like I just showed earlier. So this one has the brick wall. If I select this show, the background will automatically adjust with it, as you notice right there. It automatically updated and it looks like this now. The reason that is because I dragged that image onto the first slide. That's how I recommend that you keep your backgrounds in order. Now, if you want to have, and this, I say if you want to, I don't recommend this, but if you want each slide to have a different background, then you can just drag a new image to each slide if you wanted to. Not the most consistent thing, so I'm not going to act like that's an ideal way to do it. I would recommend to have a consistent background at least per show. Okay. Some of you like to have a consistent background for all of your songs and then a consistent background throughout the entirety of the message, maybe, right? Or when they're showing scriptures and things like that. That's completely fine too. The main thing is to not be a distraction, right? We're talking about doing excellent in our media, not be a distraction with our fancy ideas of what we think is cool, and more so contributing our part to the service and saying, hey, we're here to serve the Lord, and the teachers up there teaching, the singers are up there singing, and they're worshiping, and the instrumentalists are up there playing instruments. This is our instrument. This is our service to the Lord to serve as well. And we don't want to try to take the spotlight by trying to do any and everything to show what we can do. All right. And then Alfronto says, can we do so? I think it says, can we do something like what the stage timer is used for in FreeShow? Al, tell me more about what you're thinking about doing more like what the stage timer is used for. And then Steve, excellent. I'm glad that makes sense for you, my friend. So yeah, if you've got it on each of those slides, go in and just delete that background out of each of those slides and then put it as just go into your show. You don't have to go to the edit page at all and just drag onto that first slide and you'll automatically have it tied to the entire show. But Al, tell me a little bit more about what you're asking. Can we do something like what the stage timer is used for in FreeShow? I'm guessing you want to, there's a stage timer software. I don't know about a stage timer software. Brian says, I think I answered my own question of a few weeks ago. I downloaded FreeShow API to use with Stream Deck. It includes books of the Bible, chapters and verses, etc. And then you can preset up the service. What? You download the FreeShow API and it includes books of the Bible? Somebody needs to elaborate on that one for me. Somebody elaborate on that one. The books of the Bible. Interesting. All right, let me switch over here. And I'm going to look up stage timer. Let's see here. I'm going to do that real quick and then I'll pull it up. Stage timer. Okay, let's see here. Here's my guess. I'm guessing you're talking about this. And so this stagetimer.io, let me make sure I type that in right. Yeah, so stagetimer.io. So it's a control countdown timer. Remote control, show a full screen timer to your presenter while you control it from another device. Oh yeah. Okay. And so can we do something like what the stage timer is used for? Absolutely. Oh yeah, you can do that even better, I would say. Great question. Great question. Okay, so let's talk about timers. This is another question. Great question. This is from Al. So Al, let's talk about timers in FreeShow. So the first thing to understand is to find the timers, right? You got to go to your functions tab. All right. And it's there in that space because it's a part of a number of other functions like actions and variables and triggers, right? And that makes sense when you look at everything else, they kind of stand alone. Timers, to me, they could have their own tab, but I think it's great that they're in the functions because it's in there with some other things that are really useful. And otherwise it'll get kind of cluttered down there. Excuse me. But once you get to the functions tab, you're going to see, and I'm going to close this down. Yours will probably look something like this, where you'll see actions, timers, variables, and triggers. I'm going to go to my timers and you see I've got a load of them, right? You won't have that many. You may not have any. But if I go to this option at the bottom right that says new timer, it gives you some options here and you can literally set your timer to do whatever you want. Typically what you want it to do is you want it to go from start to end is a typical timer, right? Like a countdown. timer. And what you would do is you select that and you would say, okay, a 5-minute, and you would just arrow up. You could make it be as long as you want, or you can double click in there and make this be 23 minutes, some random number if you needed to. All right. And then you would name it. And I'm going to call this one Al's training timer. All right. And you can set it to overflow when it reaches the end if you want to. So you can do that. And then we can select what the color is. And you can also make it blink if you wanted to. And that's a feature that's pretty cool, right? You can do that. I'm not for it or opposed to it. It's totally up to you. Typically what I'll do is I'll leave that off, but it's completely up to you. All right. So it's coming from 23 minutes to this many minutes. If you wanted it to count up, then you would just make this be 0 and then make this be to whatever that number is. Okay. So it can be vice versa. Either way you want this, but typically what people are doing is a count down, right? And they might do something like 10 minutes, 0 seconds, and then it goes to 0. And then once you do that, I just hit enter to lock it in. You don't have to do that. It's already locked in, and I can just close this out. And you'll see here, I've got Al's training timer. Now, the cool thing is, since it's a timer, it's here, I can drag this up and it could be on my show. Okay. It could just be on my show right there. Just a big timer by default is there. All right. If I go to it, it automatically will start. Okay. It's got a timer action icon on there. That means when I go to this, it's going to start counting down. As a media leader or facilitator, person running Free Show, you're going to see this timer active here. And you can stop it if you want to. You can pause it. If you stop it, watch what happens. When I hit stop here, it should stop. Okay, here we go. It was delayed a little bit. When it stops, it actually resets. All right. Whereas if I hit the play button here, what'll happen is it gives you the option to stop or to pause. If I hit pause, it literally just does that. It'll just pause where it is. All right. And it still stays at 9:54. It didn't reset, and I can just start it back up. Okay. So you've got that complete control. Now, when it comes to the, that thing is called stage timers. When you first asked me, I was thinking about how does this work on an actual stage display, right? And so if we go to our stage setups up here in the upper, so we got our show, we got our edit, and then we got our stage where you can edit your stage layouts. I've got a timer right here, right? So I can click on this one, and I actually had this pre-made. So let's delete it. Let's just get rid of it. And I'm going to put a timer there now. Okay. So you just go to items and you would select an option that says timer. So you can add a slide, you can add a current output, you can add text boxes. And over here is really cool. You can even add variables that you want to as well, right? Or timers and all kinds of cool stuff. But we're going to select timer. All right. And it pops up and it just comes on our page. You can drag that around wherever you want it to be. And I'm going to put it right back where I had it before. But I'm just going to make it be Al's timer instead of what it was before. All right. So it's right now at 0 and it's called first active timer. I can hit that drop down and I'll get a list of all those timers that I had on my functions tab. They're all here. So I can go to Al's training timer and boom. And it shows you it's all synced up, right? So it was 9:54 up here on the slide. You can see that there on the stage. It's all synced up. It's 9:54 here as well. Now I can go back and hit play and it plays on my main screen and it plays on the stage display. So that's why I say the stage timer thing on Google that you looked up, it doesn't do half as much as what you can do in FreeShow with the built-in timer. So I wouldn't recommend paying for something like that. If you have paid for it, you can cancel it. That would be my recommendation, just because the FreeShow timers are going to be so robust. Now, what you haven't seen me do is all the other ways you can use a timer, which I have to make a new video about that. But I believe there's one out there already about timers. And I have to look. Let me fact check myself. I don't know. I may have made that up. If we go to videos, let's see if there's one on timers. I believe there's one. It may just be older. So timer settings. Yes, this one's from 8 months ago. This is when I need to update. This was countdown timer setup. This is one where I actually walk through setting up a countdown timer. You can see it, how it looks there. So you can check that video out, but I'll make a new one soon about how to move timers around and put them in overlays. You can put them on slides. You can put them in templates. I mean, you can put them wherever you want to. And that's the flexibility that you have with FreeShow that you won't get with something like that stage timer piece. All right, let's see here. Let me see where. Okay, so I'm going back up to Brian. Brian said he answered this question. Brian, I just don't remember what your question was that you asked a few weeks ago. But I love that you download that free show API. I got to figure out how to do that. Okay, so Big LS305 says, how do you set up free show to be able to work at home so I can just pull it up at church? How do you set up free show to be able to work at home? Okay, to be able to work at home. So you work on it at home and then pull it up the same way at the church. So that would be the Google API setup sync option. So I'm gonna go to my settings. If you go over to your option for files, there's a Google API service account key that you would need. All right. And then when you do, once you set that up, you'll be able to sync this up and you will do that same thing on your home computer. So you do this at both locations, both devices you want this to be on. And then the data and all that stuff will automatically sync up. Once you log into Free Show, what it does, it'll automatically sync up with whatever was done on the other device. So if you're doing all your editing on the home computer, when you open up the church computer, it'll sync up with what you did at home in terms of your projects and your shows and things like that. And I believe someone asked a question about this a while back, and what Christopher recommended was to back up everything and upload that onto the folder that it goes to, and it should automatically sync up from that point on if you're running into any issues with it. Now that one I do know I made a video about. Let me see. I'm gonna just call it sync. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, so it's called Cloud Sync in Free Show. Now, this is a pretty popular question because, like I said, I made a video about this one 8 months ago. I don't know that much of that has changed, but what you would need to do is you need to go to the Free Show page. Let me go to Free Show. And what you will find is under the docs, they've got a resource here where you can do a search on the left side and you can type in sync and you will find Cloud Sync using Google Drive API. And it literally is all I did in the video. And I didn't walk through it completely in the video just because it was new to me and I didn't want to give away any personal information. But if you follow these instructions, you will literally be able to go through exactly what you need to do to have that set up properly for you and your Google account. And it's synced up and it's secured and all that kind of stuff in a good way. All right. And so I just followed those instructions and it worked out perfectly fine. And it's a whole list of different things you need to do. Some people have used like Dropbox or something like that. That's fine, I guess. This is a lot more integrated. So I would recommend this. It's just something that you need to set up once. You don't have to keep doing it. It's once you set it up, it automatically is going to sync up and it's going to be good. So I would do that. Great question. Great question. Let me see here. Alfronto, sweet. We used to have a dedicated person on a laptop doing solely that. Now I can save a whole laptop and personally by using Free Show. Absolutely, my friend. That's a great tool. Free Show is a great tool with timers. I love it. Steve says PowerPoint has morph transitions. Keynote calls it the magic move. I know exactly what you're talking about. It is used to smoothly move or resize items on screen as you transition between the slides. How can we do this in Free Show? That's a great question. The only way that I know that you can do something like that in Free Show is to probably export that keynote or that PowerPoint as a video and have it all together as a video. So you wouldn't necessarily have that much control. You would have to set the time and have it do it automatically. In Free Show, there's a whole list of transitions you can do, but they are not like a morph transition. You can do like a blur or a spin. I would say the fade is going to probably be the closest thing. But I just went over here to the right side. Let me go show you where I went over here to this transitions option. And you can see here, this is a quick jump to seeing all the different options you have. And then you can change how the time duration for them and how they ease in and out. That would be a good question. I'm gonna throw this to Christopher to say, hey, Christopher, is there any plans for new transitions in Free Show to where people can have that flexibility? If you're still on, Christopher, obviously if you're not, you won't hear me. But is there any room for there to be different types of transitions like a morph cut or in Keynote and Apple where they call it a magic move, to where it just basically blends different things together and it makes it look like a seamless transition as opposed to like a fade. A fade I get, but this will be more seamless than that, like blending the elements together and they kind of turn into the next slide. Let me see what else we got here. I use Stream Deck with Companion. Okay, this is what Brian's talking about. I think I'm on the right track. Maybe Christopher could elucidate. I don't know what elucidate means, but I'm guessing probably expand on that. So I use Stream Deck with Companion, and I think I'm on the right track. Okay, yeah. I love it. I love the idea of using Stream Deck, or like I said, I use just the companion on my tablet. I just use the soft buttons for it on my screen, like the touch buttons, instead of buying the actual device. But it's the same idea. And so the APIs for Stream or for companion are there, right? I know that those are all there. I didn't know that there was a way to get Bibles though. That's where you got me. I didn't know there was a Bibles and verses. Which, let me check here. Let's see. Let's go to companion. I'm gonna just launch the GUI. And I might have just overlooked it because I'm thinking about buttons here. Brian, let me know. Are you talking about a button in there where you can do that? Because I want to know about it if there is. I got my Circle Gary icon there. You guys haven't noticed. That's something that's fun that I added a button for. But this is what I'm looking at right now. When I edit, when I do my my show, I literally press these buttons on my tablet. My tablet's right here. So if I wanted to go to my talking head, I just tap talking head. And what it does, it'll show up, and I've got feedback on that button to show me when that button is selected. And so I don't even have to see myself in OBS, but if I scroll to OBS, I can see that I'm bigger there and having my talking head, and I can go back to my split share so you guys can see that as well. All right. So the APIs, I know you can get to those in terms of, let me see, I'm going to go to this button, for example. This is my outro button. And I just want to show you guys what I think he's talking about. So if we go here to the folder, so press action, when you press a button, it does something and you can determine what it does. And for me, I've got it to where it runs an action called FreeShow Outro, and it sets OBS to go to my FreeShow primary. But let's go here to this folder to see if we can add something else. And if I go to FreeShow, this is a list of all the APIs. That's what I think they are, that are available. And like I said, I didn't know there was one for, okay, start scripture from the reference. Okay, there's one of them about the Bible. I didn't know that was there. Let's see, run action, previous scripture verse. I see it. I see exactly what you're talking about. I think, Brian, let me know if this is what you're talking about. Let me see if there's anything else in there about scriptures. Change. Okay, so there's previous scripture verses there. There should be and then the next scripture verse, and then there was another one I saw with scripture. Okay, start scripture from the reference. That is pretty cool. Let me see if that's what you were thinking about, Brian. And I'm going to do something real quick before I forget, you guys. There was an email. If you're on my mailing list, you got an email. If you're not on my mailing list and you're here today, I'm going to put a copy of a link. Hopefully it'll come in the chat. If you want to be in the drawing, I'm going to do a drawing before we leave today of 2 YOLOcast annual subscriptions, right? YOLOcast is a streaming software that allows you to stream your service live to multiple platforms at a time, right? So you can use it with OBS, or you can use it with like maybe like a vMix or something like that. But what it does, it allows you to take your service, your video feed and all that stuff. You can even, I guess you could even use it with like a with an ATEM as well. I'm pretty sure as well. So, but I made a video about it. If you want a YOLOcast, you want to be entered to win that, I'm going to put this link here. I'm going to call this. Okay. YOLOcast annual sub. I'm going to say annual streaming. Drawing. All right. Let me know if you guys can access that. If you want to get a free annual subscription and you want to be entered to draw, it's a drawing. I'm gonna do a random drawing for it today with 2 winners. We're gonna have 2 winners. And I do that. I'm gonna do that at the end of each month. So this is the last Friday of this month. We're gonna do that. So we'll do that for the next couple of months as well. So feel free to enter into that. It's a Google form that's gonna take you to, and you need to put in your name and your email, and then you need to make sure to reply. I'm gonna send you an email to confirm that you won. And if you don't reply to me within 7 days, I'm going to have to pick somebody else. All right. But if you do reply to me, that means that you are actively there, and I can do that. So anybody that's on the live stream today, you can do this. Only those on the live stream. All right. So we'll be announcing that before we get done here too. And then you don't have to, if you have to leave from the live stream after you signed up, that's fine. Like I said, you still got to reply to that email, even if you're not on with me, because I opened up to anybody on my mailing list as well. Some of you all might be there. You probably saw the same link. You can make sure that you're in that particular drawing if you want to. All right. Let's see here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything else. So that was what Brian was talking about. Okay. Gene Sane says, how can I create a 2-line block style for scriptures? A 2-line block style for scriptures with a simple background like 2 black bars so I can display it cleanly in OBS. Okay, so how can I create a 2-line block style for scriptures in FreeShow? Is it for Gene saying, is it 2 different versions of the Bible, or is it just you want 2 lines? Will be my question. All right. Let me go back into FreeShow and let's see what we can do. We may not get to all the features of FreeShow because we got so many good questions. So keep asking the questions. That's fine. I'll make a video later on about the features of FreeShow if we need to, if we don't have time today. But let me go to scriptures. So we got scriptures here. And really what we want to do is we want to make a template. When you talk about the style of something, the way that it looks, and you talk about the block style and all that kind of stuff, what I would do is I would start with the templates. All right. And I would go in, and you typically by default, you should have one called scripture. And so, oh, this is a quick way. Camera outputs. One of the updates for the 1.5.0 is it'll just show this icon and say, hey, you got a camera feed here, as opposed to showing the camera feed itself, which is what it used to do. It showed the video of everything. This is what it shows here, which is pretty cool. Okay. I'm pretty sure it saves some type of performance room for you. All right. Now for the blocks of scripture, FreeShow kind of defaults to show that already. It has those in there by default. So you'll see that little shield. This is a 2 scripture. I messed my 2 scripture template up. Let me see here. Let me see if I can reset defaults. Boom. I love that. So if you mess up your defaults like I did, you can just hit reset defaults. It'll automatically adjust and turn them back into the default style. So I got my default. This is 2 different Bibles. All right. That's one way to do it. Okay. You can just go there and you can use that. And if you don't want that, you can duplicate it and make it how you want to still keep it with 2 versions of the Bible. So Gene saying, let me know if this is what you were talking about. For sure. I'm curious about that. But you also said you want to be simple, black background. I'm sorry, like 2 black bars. Now let's talk about how we could do something like that. And so that would be a new template. I'm gonna call it a new template. And we're going to call this, I'm going to call it black bars. And it's in my scriptures category, which is fine. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to create a text box. And since you're using it on OBS, my guess is you're probably going to have a camera feed behind you. And so you can do something like this. And I would do it as a lower thirds personally. And you can let me know if that's how you were intending or planning to do it. But something like that. And now right now, this is pretty transparent. You don't necessarily need it to be transparent. You might want it to be full. Let's see here. Where we at? That's padding. And the color. Where we at? Border. So I see this here. Oh, no, I don't want the gradient. But I want it to where it's not transparent. What am I missing here? Oh, no, that's the border. Transform opacity. Okay. That's that. And I don't even see the opacity. Position. Because this is somewhat, I think this is transparent. Maybe it's not. Yeah, it's see-through a little bit. Maybe it's here. Somebody tell me, what am I missing here? I'm used to seeing it in the items. Things may have changed with style, shadow, filters. I like the filters there, but I'm not looking for a filter. Position, transform. Yeah, so it's at 100%, but I can see through it. I don't know why. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, this is the opacity, flip, tilt. We don't need to do any of that. But you want to put a text box here, and then you said you wanted another one, and you can make it to where the corner radius is not there. You said you wanted to be boxes, so you can make it be boxy. And then a border, you can turn the border off. You can just simply hit that reset option, and it makes it to where there's no border, and you can make it be down to 0, so you can see that. You could tell that it's gone, but either way is fine. All right. And so you got one box, and now we need to add another one for the actual reference. Now, if you said you wanted to have it be like a 1 and a 2, I would do like the number 1, and I would hit enter, and I would do the number 2. And you can kind of get an idea of what that size font would look like. And so then what you would do is you go to your text and make it to where it'll fit in that box the way you need to. There's a lot of padding on this one right now. So I'm gonna turn the padding down to where it takes up, the text will be more, have more room in that box. And then the text, I would bring it down to where it'll fit in there. So let's say 40, let's see what 40 would look like. 40 looks good. It could be a little bit bigger even. So I would do something like that, like 47. And then I would do auto size still. I would still say shrink to fit. Okay. Now I know a lot of you all are opposed to it. For me, I personally like it because it's a good safety point. But when you do the sizing like I just did, you shouldn't see it change quite a bit. You always, go in there and make it fit the way you want, and then say, hey, if it gets any bigger than this, if it's more text than this, make it shrink to fit. All right. And then I'm going to just right click on this and I'm going to duplicate it. And when you do that, it gives you another box right on top, and I can just drag that box down. This one's going to be my reference box. So I'm going to bring it down just a bit and bring it to the side. And some of you all might want it to be at the top, right? You might say, I want to bring it to the top like that. And I'll bring everything down. Because if it's that tall, we don't want to block too much of what's going on. So it can be something like that. And they can kind of overlap. And they both have a little bit of a padding on them. And they both have enough room. So now the question is, how do we make the scriptures show up in the right place? And this is where it gets interesting. So what I like to do is I like to go to my current templates that are already pre-made, and I'll look at those. And let's see here. So this is scripture. I just want the original scripture. It'll just be a plain one. All right. So this is scripture here. So if we right click on this and edit it, we got one here, and then this says meta. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to look at our items, and we're going to scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see meta is at the top. Okay. So your reference is at the top by default. That's how we want to make our templates as well. And then the text box, which is the big box here, is the reference for the scripture. All right. So I'm going to go over here to my left. I got my edited black bars. I'm going to call this one, instead of it being called 1, 2, I'm going to call it meta, and make sure I don't leave out the M. All right. And let's make sure in our items that it's in the right order, where the meta is at the top. And I'm just scrolling down. And so right now it's at the bottom. I'm going to pull it up. And now it's just stacked on top in terms of order. So we should be able to go to our scriptures now. I'll go back to my show, go to scripture, and I'm going to look over here for a new template that I just made called black bars. It's right here. I can select that. And I'm going to go to a Bible that's just a single Bible and not 2 Bibles. And you will see it there, and it shows up. And let's double click it, and you'll see it shows up like that right there. So we got one box and then another box, and it's got a transparency, and I don't know why I could not get that transparency to be different. I guess, yeah, no, I expect it to be 100% opacity makes it dark, but it's at 100% opacity. I might have missed something. So somebody correct me on where I can find that and let me know. Okay, let me see. Gene saying, let me know if that was what you were looking for. If you have other ideas for a lower third template, you can always go in there and you'll see some for scriptures that are there by default as well. And they're got a white background. This was for 2 scriptures. It's got a white and a gray. You can just go in there and change the color to make it black, and then have that, the meta with the little green box in mine, or the orange box. You can make that be black as well. Right. And I just duplicated this and did that, and you can do that. So it's got some default lower third options. And then you also have this trendy curve. Now the trendy curve for scriptures was hard to do. That one, you have to manage that a little bit differently. I wouldn't recommend trying to do that one, but you can definitely play around with it. But that's where you would start. And if you need to download some other templates, I've got some on my website. You can download those for free. And then I think there's some on there that might be paid, but I don't think any for the scriptures are. But like I said, the new defaults, if you haven't updated to the latest version of FreeShow, you won't see those, or one of the latest versions. I can't remember when those came in, but some great templates in terms of the default templates there now. Let's see here. Big L S305 says, is there a way to just have a separate show that's different from the in-house? That's a good question. Like, and you said from your live stream. There's a way. I don't recommend it because it can get cumbersome. And so when you say a separate show, Let's think about that. The question is, what might you have? And usually what ends up happening, for example, like for a live stream, or I'm trying to think something like that, you could do, and you want it to play, like it's going to be hard to interact with two shows at the same time. So that's the part of the reason why that's not a feature. However, if you wanted to have something on a screen at all, like at all times, just the same thing. For example, let's say you had like a lobby presentation or lobby slide or something like that. What I would do is I would just take the image here, like let's say I need another input, but I'll act like the primary is my lobby screen. What I would do is I would go up here to the primary, and you can lock it down is what it should do. And so now it's there. Okay. And right now it's showing Genesis chapter 1, verse 5 in the English Standard Version. When I go here and go to these other ones, I'm managing my show, but this act like this our lobby, it's still locked on to Genesis chapter 1, verse 5. Okay. And so let me show you what that would look like. So if I go to, I see some of you guys are signing up. Great, great, great. Let me change this to where it shows up right. Hold on. Maybe not. All right. So I think I locked it. Let me see. And so if we go here, hold on. I'm trying to make sure that my output is doing right. That is my primary. And it's in the right place. 6432. Okay. That's good. And it should be outputting, but it's not right now. Interesting. Let me split my primary. It should be showing that on the side there, and it's not. And I don't know why. Not right at the moment. I didn't turn it off. Toggle output. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure what's up with my one of my favorite features with the outputs, but typically what'll happen is you can just freeze, like, you know, just lock it down by hitting that title there. And what it'll do is it'll put a little slash through it, and it'll lock it down to where that particular output is locked in, and you can keep doing your show like normal. You can have something separate on another screen. That would be the gist of what I would recommend. Now, if you want to have, like, you could change the way the content looks and what is shown on each independent one. So you can say, hey, you know what? I want the background to show up in-house, but I want the scriptures to show up on the live stream. And that's pretty easy to do as well by going into your edit page. And actually, I wouldn't even go to the edit. I would actually go to the template that you're using. And let's see what template we got here. So we got this template. I can tell because it's highlighted blue. I would right click on that and edit it. And then I would go here. Let's say I wanted all these second box, you know, of the scripture to go to a specific output. And it would go to just that output and not the other one. That would be another way to have the same quote unquote content showing differently on each screen. It is not showing everything on both screens. It's showing something on one screen that is not showing on the other. That would be what I would recommend you do for it. But to try to have two different shows going, it gets complicated because what you would have to do is you would have to actually make a show, right? So you can go to your edit page, make a show. Let's say this one, this is a show here, but you would have to have another item on the show. This the second show. And you would do that same thing, right click on that item to say it's only going to show on this live stream output, where everything else is going to show on the primary. Okay. And so you have to be careful of that. And it gets cumbersome because everything's on the same slide. So I don't recommend it personally. But good question though. I like the question. I like the way you're thinking about it. Let me go down here and make sure I don't see or miss any other questions. Let's see here. Boss Bargus says, hi, Gary. Our church is planning to buy a computer for media use. What specs should I look for to run like a 3-hour service? We're on the budget side of things. It depends on if you want a Windows or Apple computer. For me, I would recommend getting an Apple just because that's what I'm used to. I've been using Apple computers for the last 20 years or so, primarily for my personal use. And then for business now too as well. I've been using them for business for the last 15 years, 10 years, sorry. So I would look into getting some type of the M4 Mac Mini is really good. Any version of that, they start off at about $500, but you still got to buy your own keyboard and mouse and screen. But if I'm understanding you right, um, you're planning to buy a computer for media use. Well, maybe not. If you don't have a computer at all, that means you don't have a mouse, a keyboard, and a screen. So you're going to pay for those separately. So when it's all said and done, those will be whatever budget you have for those. But the actual unit itself, it'll come with a power cord, and everything else you got to provide, right? So you got to have your own mouse to connect to it and all that kind of stuff. But I recommend Mac Minis. And if you have a bigger budget, I would get a Mac Mini with the M4 Pro chip. Instead of just the general M4, I would get the M4 Pro chip, and it'll be just a little bit more powerful. And it'll support, I believe it supports more displays. I could be wrong. If you have a budget that's a little bit more than that, like maybe let's say twice as much. Let's say you had an $800 or $900 budget. I would recommend looking into getting like a M1 Mac Studio. M1 Mac Studio will support, I think, 5 displays, and it'll be the base of it will be like an M1 Max chip, and it'll support 5 displays, and it should run everything pretty smoothly as well. I'm using an M1 Pro chip in a laptop, and it works fairly decent. I start running into issues when I'm using OBS to record, and I'm running 3 instances of NDI and navigating motion graphics and stuff like that. I can see it start to stutter a little bit, but it's not very often it does that. I think it's just other things that are going on my computer as well. I got Chrome open and all that kind of stuff. So those are the only computers I really would recommend just because that's the only ones I've ever really used. But they're Windows users on. I would ask them. So to the chat, let us know what's the best computer you would recommend in terms of processors and things like that on the Windows world, because I'm just not used to using those at the moment. Chris Ling, is there some bug in the Mac version? Because whenever I remove the one created output and I restart the FreeShow, the output is still there. Oh, I don't know, because it's always been like that. When you remove the output, and so when you say you remove, so you would go here, for example, you would right click and you would edit and you would actually turn it off. And if that's the case, then I don't know. Because if I turn it off, it'll always be there. And I'm gonna turn my primary back on. So I could turn off that output, and it should, when I open up the program again, that output will not be on. And so make sure you're doing it this way, where you're enabling and disabling. That would be where I would go under the outputs in settings. And that's to answer Chris's question. But in terms of the Windows, now that part, let's see, if I go to another output, so I got my primary, the output screen, that does stick as well. So it'll stay whatever you had it last to. I don't think that's a bug or a problem for me on my end. So I'm just curious, how are you disabling that output? That would be the question that you have to ask. Brian says, my original question from weeks ago was about setting up a presentation from Stream Deck. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. I remember that a little bit. That was a few weeks back. I told you, I think that would be pretty hard to do, to set it up completely, but there are some of those APIs that allow you to navigate the scriptures a lot easier, but I still think you got to set it up in FreeShow first. Steve says, does FreeShow always display all bullet points at once, or can it reveal them one point at a time when clicked? Great question. And let's go into here, because that's a question that you are not alone with, my friend. If you go to the channel, I did make a update on that. Slide. Okay, FreeShow presentation like they are from one slide. Okay. Yeah, so you can make them come out one point at a time. This is the updated version, so I would just look at that one. These were about a month, maybe a couple weeks apart. I'm not sure how long it was. It just shows me month by month here. But you can definitely do that. Basically, what it is it's a facet of, and I don't think I have any bullets. Let's see here. That's a test group. I'm just looking if I already have a show that has bullets on it that I can test with you real quick. Variable slides. These have bullets. let's do a new template for that. I was playing around with bullets on there, but let's do presentations, and it would be one with a title and the bullets. Here's one here. So I'll do left bullets. All right. And so there's not a lot of bullets in there, but let's act like there is. Use values to add. All right. Okay. So here's an example. And so, oh, that's not it. I got all kind of fun stuff going on with that. So that blue bar at the bottom is like a progress bar that I added in the template, and I don't like that template at all. All right, let's do this one. That was hilarious. All right, I'm gonna go to a slide and then we'll just hit edit. And so organize your categories by meetings or by something else. I'm just making some fake bullets here. And other things. All right. And so I can see here that these are bullets. It's a list. And I did that by going over to the right. You can do that anytime. You can go here and select list. But then you need to right click on it and you'll see some options. And on the item action, when you select that text box, you can say reveal on click. Okay. Or reveal line by line. And so for the bullets, I would say reveal line by line. And now you'll see that option there. So let's go back to our show. And I'm going to refresh. And so now you'll see that it's completely blank. And I'm going to use my arrow key to the right. And you'll see the first bullet come up, arrow again to the right. You'll see the second bullet come up, and I arrow again to the right. And you'll see the third bullet come up. All right. And so that is definitely an option in the program. And the funny thing is I cannot, for some reason. Okay, it's back up. Okay, good, good, good. And let's go back up here. I'm going to go back so we can see what it looks like. So you guys can see my screen. All right, so this is what it would be like for the end user on the video screen or whatever. So they would see it like that. It's pretty seamless, okay? They just see it come in. It doesn't flash like it was on my preview. It literally just shows up the way it should, all right? So that's what the audience would see. So yes, you can definitely do that. Great question as well. Let's see here. Oh, where's my question? Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Questions down here. I'm about to get another screen soon. We'll see. I have to figure that out. So Steve, hopefully that answers your question. And then Do Media says, I'm guessing that's high. I seem to have an issue with the output settings. It can occupy the entire TV screen. Kindly help. Okay. So it will depend on the dimensions of your TV screen. That's the big thing. So if you go to your settings, the default, I believe, is 1920 by 1080 in terms of the dimensions, right? So if your television is older than that, you can select this and you can change the output values and change the dimensions, you know, all that kind of stuff in terms of what you need. All right. And you can allow custom output position and size, or you can turn that off and it'll just automatically be generic at that 1920. Okay. But I would turn that on and then you can change the width and the height. Maybe your television is a 4:3 screen. Maybe it's, most of them are going to be the 16 by 9. So you can just go in here and change that. And it might be 1280 by 760, whatever, 720. Is that it? Whatever the dimensions are for 16 by 9. All right. So you can do that way for it. Let's see here. It can occupy the entire TV screen. And so that would be the main question is what are the dimensions of your screen? You would go to your output to do that. Now, the other thing is when you're creating your style, right now I'm on a default style. So if I go to the settings here and edit that, you'll see another option for, let's see here, aspect ratio. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items down, the aspect ratio for this style, I can select that and it gives you those ratios. 16 by 9 is the default. 4:3 is another option. You can select that. And this is the best way to determine it is to go to your style and just pick one of these aspect ratios because most likely your television is going to be that. However, if you have a custom LED screen, then you need to make some adjustments that are going to be maybe a little bit different than this, but some of them might be a 2.39 by 1 or 21 by 9. aspect ratio, and you can pick one of those as well. It says use output resolution aspect ratio, and you can do that here. And let's see, if I hit that drop down, it gives you the font size ratio. Interesting. And it's just letting you do like 100% font size versus, or do you want the font sizes to be smaller or whatever. And then if I turn this off to turn off use output resolution, then I can pick those, and you can just make it be the default of whatever those are. I had that on because I wanted to pick it on my output, but in your style, you can turn that off and you can pick that as well here, and you can position it even to where it's centered based on what it is, or you can have it to where it starts at that particular I say ratio, that position, like it's that usually has to do with, I believe it has to do with the blended screens, but I could be wrong on that part. So forgive me on that part. I'm not sure about the positioning of it, but I would just keep it as centered with the 16:9 ratio, right? But you might have a 4:3 TV, so you'll pick 4:3, and you'll see that change up there if you notice. All right. So that would be my thoughts on that. Let's see here. Big L says, like video during the pre-service on live stream, I wouldn't want to show the same video in-house. I got you. So a live stream video that's going to be playing, that is a video, like basically it's one slide. And so in-house, you would need to have a different slide that may be just a background that says welcome or something like that, right? That is pretty easy to do. It's not an entire quote unquote show. It's actually just an entire slide. Okay. So if I go to my show, the way I would recommend you do something like that is, let's see here. Do I have a, so for your live feed, first thing you got to do is you need to make sure your output for your live feed, I'm going to edit this. You need to make sure that it's set to where it will show for the style, it'll show like the background, but you can put that video on a slide. That would be my recommendation. Actually, I would just put it as a slide. So I can select that, turn on the slide for my output here, and you'll see that the slide came up for the bullets that are currently there, which is fine. And then we go to our show, and let's see here. You would go to edit. And so we want a video to play, but we want the video to play on the live stream, and we don't want these bullets to show up on the live stream. So I'm gonna right click on this, and I'm gonna say specific output. So I'm gonna say specific output. I want this stuff to just show up on the primary. Okay. And then I can update this. And now what's going to happen is it goes away from my live stream. Then I want to add a video. Okay. So I go to items, and I can just do media, and I will choose a video. And I don't know if I got any videos quick and easy here. FreeShow Friday. What does that say? That's FreeShow Friday. I'll go to some of my old recordings. Let me see what I got here. That's old. I'm just trying to find a small file, you guys. Hold on. That's 18 minutes. 12 minutes. I talk a lot. I talk a long time. There's 1 minute. All right. So we'll do this 1 minute clip. All right. So we'll do open. And so now my video is here, and I can select it, and I want to make it fill the screen. And it's funny because it's the same backdrop as this presentation. All right, so I will fill the screen with this, but then I would right click on this, and I would say specific outputs only to live to training. All right, boom. And then I can refresh, and you'll see that that video plays there, but it doesn't show up in-house. And I'm going to mute that. All right. This is a video I sent to my mailing list. So you all, some of you all may have seen that. Oh, it's on my slide. That's the funny thing. So it's on my slide. And if I pause it there we go. Okay. So you won't be able to find the video on your background. It's going to be on your slide playing because it's actually on the slide. But you can see here the in-house primary is not seeing it, while the people online, you can see that. Okay. And you can't tell what I'm doing. Let me do a full share. And you still can't see it. All right, let me do. Oh, okay, you can see that. All right, so you can see here that you can see that there's this. I think I glitched it out. I don't know what I did though, you guys. Let me see if I can make that go away. That's interesting. Christopher, if you're on, it's an interesting situation. I got a video on my slide and it's playing. And when I pause it, it started to glitch out on the groups and stuff. Interesting. All right. But what I was saying is you can see the primary and you can see the live stream feed. They're very different, but they're on the same slide. And that's what I was going to say is that they're not necessarily two totally separate shows. They're in the same show particularly, but they're showing two different things. Okay. And so I can go and edit this and you'll see there's just a video on top. Okay. It says, are you trying to use the media as a background? This is one of the new features of 1.5.0. I can convert this whole thing to a background and it'll be there, but I want to keep it as a slide for this particular instance. Now, what I can do is I can move it to the back. So I can say items and we can move it to where it's down below everything. So it's literally out of the way. Uh-oh. Let's put that back. And then the media goes down and it looks like I got two of those. Maybe that was the issue. Let's see if I can delete one of those. Nope. They were both. It was one of them. Oh, I got a separate one up here. I made a little bitty box. I made a tiny box, like a tiny Gary, this up there that I was using for a template that I was working on. So that's what that's about. But for what we did, that's how you would do it. That's the short and sweet of it. All right. So you just pick a specific output for it and it will play. Great question, Big L. Let's see. Steve says, yes, thank you for answering my question. Where are you located? I'm actually in the Atlanta area. I'm in the Atlanta area, Steve. You can have me come out. I love to do training wherever you want to have me. So let me know and we can coordinate some stuff. Send me an email on my website if that's something you're thinking about. Let me know. And I forget where you're from, Steve. Let me see if you set it up here earlier. I don't know if you told us where you're from, Steve, so forgive me. But yeah, let's see. Faith Lutheran. I downloaded the FreeShow API, then Church Apps FreeShow, then buttons to get books of the Bible. Oh, interesting. And this is all done in Companion. Somebody gonna have to show me how to do that. Oh, he said I should go to Tiny Head Gary. I'm actually there, right? I'm in there now. Let me see. Yeah, I'm in Tiny Head Gary. I just don't like it because it blocks some part of the screen. That's the only reason I don't do it very often. Let's see here. Kindly refer to where I can get songbook database for free to import into FreeShow. When it comes to songbooks, I can't speak to songbooks so much, but when it comes to songs or music, you can go to the media tab down at the bottom, and not media, actually to shows. I'm tripping. You can go to shows and then just hit new show, and then you can type in the name of the song you want. Let's do How Great Thou Art. And if you have access to the internet, right? If you're going to download something, you probably got access to the internet. How do you spell thou? That's not it. Thou art. There we go. And then I'm going to put this in my songs category because it's a song. So I'm going to scroll down to songs. And then you would do a web search. And you'll find a lot of different artists that have sang that song. And you'll see their name here. So this is Passion. This is Religious Music Hymns. Chris Rice, Carrie Underwood, Elvis Presley, and some others that I can't even read because it's just a different language. But these are it's doing a web search to find those lyrics. So let's say I want to check this one out. And it shows you the title and it shows you the artist. It shows you the contributors. And so you can edit this out and I'll take that part out. I'll say, we just want to see verse 1. Oh Lord, my God, when I awesome wonder. And if this is the way that you want it, then you would just say create the show. So you can say create how great they are, but you can also hit these settings. I like to hit the settings, and I actually like to set my my max lines to whatever I want. So maybe you want 2, 3, or 4 lines. It's totally up to you. And then you say create. And now we've got how great they are. And I'm in my edit page, so it automatically showed up there. But if I go to the show, it shows up here, right up under the current slides, the current show that I'm in. Okay. So if I select this here, it shows up. And let me see what you all can see. Okay, yeah, so nothing there. Okay, so you guys can see my preview. I'm just looking, you got to pay attention to the preview up there. So it shows you here, and it broke them out to where it's 2 lines. Now these are some long lines, so it looks like 4 lines, but it's just 2 long lines on each of these. And this one shows it pretty simply easy to where it's really just 2 lines. And then here on my live feed, you can see that it'll be lower thirds because I've got it as a lower thirds transparent, and it'll be like that. And everything else will be the same way as the lower thirds, but it's just longer lines. And then the in-house will see it this way. Okay. Great questions. You guys got some good questions today. I love it. Oh, wrong thing. Let me go back down here. And let's see here. Big L says, thanks, no problem. Steve's in Ohio. Okay. I think I remember. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Because when you said Ohio, I was thinking about, unfortunately, I started thinking about the Bengals. I like to watch football. So those who, and I say football, American football, right? We got people from all over the world. So I like watching American football, and I'm from Kansas City. So I'm actually a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And I thought about Cincinnati Bengals. Not to say that you're a Bengals fan, but you could be. So that's what I thought about, Steve, when I saw your name on there. Oh, this is Brian on a different address. I figured that. I was like, how did this person pick up where Brian left out? So you went to your, maybe you went to another computer to check it out. That makes sense. That makes sense, Brian. That I read it like, oh yeah, that's, I could tell it was tied to you. Then I was like, maybe I'm not going to act like it is because it didn't say exactly. So I didn't want to overlook that. Good catch. So what we'll do now, let's take some time because it is, what time is it? It's 12:21. Well, it's time to do some drawings. So if you got more questions, keep them coming. I'll make a video hopefully next week. I'm gonna be doing some traveling next week, traveling this weekend, and I'll be traveling the week after that. So Free Show Friday next week. I may make this video that I make be the Free Show Friday live feed. It'll be like a pre-recorded live stream because I'll be doing some video work next Friday. And then the Friday after that, I'll have to do another pre-recorded, and maybe we can do some, I might do a poll to ask if you guys want to do a Free Show Friday another day, to where it'll be like Free Show Friday on a Tuesday, and we can pick a new time, or Free Show Friday maybe on, it'd be hard for me to do it on Saturday, but I could try. I got to hit the road on Saturday, I think. So we'll see on that 2 weeks from now, not this week or next week. All right. Let's see here. Do Media says, thank you so much. You have, I'm guessing inspired me a lot. I have started using Free Show in our local church. I am Dominic from Nairobi, Kenya. All right, Mr. Dominic. I've been to Nairobi, Kenya. I don't know if you can tell. I got my, I always rock my Kenya. Let me see if I can see my tiny Gary here. I always rock my Nairobi, not Nairobi, but my Kenya bracelet that someone made me. A pastor from Kenya made this to me for me when I went to Kenya in 2022. I think it was. Yeah, 2022. And then we were down there shooting a documentary. And then I came back in 2023 and we released it here in America. So got to meet a lot of cool people, a lot of nice people. I love Kenya. We went to Nairobi, we went to Kakamega, and we went to Mombasa. Everywhere was beautiful and everybody was awesome. So I'm sure you're not any different, Mr. Dominic. Nice to meet you, my friend. Thanks for joining us. Let's see what we got going on here. Let me check the signups. So we got somebody just signed up just now. Excellent. So Steve just signed up. All right. So we got 10 total signups, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to export that. So here's what I'll say. If you want to sign up for the free YOLOcast drawing, make sure to do it in the next, look, let me see, in the next 2 minutes. So at 12:25, I'll pull the names out, and then I'm going to do a random number pull out of Free Show. We're going to use Free Show to do it. So this is what you can do in your ministry. You can use Free Show to do a random number draw is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna put in the total number and then we'll go from there. And right now I've got 10 signups. And so one of those 10 are gonna be or 2 of those 10 are gonna be the winner. So some of you all online, and then some are gonna be from just my mailing list, and some of you that are on my mailing list might be online. So that's exciting to see. I'm excited about that. Let me see if there's any other questions that come up before I get to that. Steve, you rock here. You rock, Mr. Steve. You rock, my man. I appreciate you. Now you can tell me. I won't be offended if you are a Cincinnati Bengals fan, just for the record. I don't take anything personal when it comes to sports. I don't take anything personal when it comes to most anything, unfortunately. Except learning. I do take learning very personal. How about a best of Free Show Friday? TV shows do it all the time. Best parts of previous shows. Man, that is a great idea. I love that, Brian. My wife would probably applaud you for that because she's kind of like you. She's full of all these creative ideas, and I'm just more the I can be creative, but my creativity is a little bit different. It's a little bit more calculated, and I always think about simplicity to understand because I have a training mindset. So that's funny. I love that idea. All right, it's 12:25. Let's pull the list. Wherever you at, you can do your drum rolls. And let me get the spreadsheet out. Create a new spreadsheet. Yes. All right. So I have all these names here. I'm just looking at it. I'm going to organize them by timestamp. Sort column. Okay. So I had some people that signed up yesterday. I got some people that signed up this morning. And it is in order by time. Perfect. All right. So we got 10 people. We're about to do the drawing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into FreeShow, and under the functions, there is an option called variables. We talked a little bit about it, I think, maybe not. I did talk about it in my top 10. I think I did. I talked about variables. So new variable is what I'm going to select. And there's this option here that is called number and then one called random number. So I'm going to select random number, and it says a number, the minimum is 1, right? Because I got 10 people. So I'm going to go from 1 to 10. All right. And let's call this YOLO Cast giveaway. And we'll put a date on it for today. All right. And then I just hit enter. It locks it in. All right. So here we go. Drum roll, please. And the survey says the first winner is, I'm going to select it, number 6. So I'm gonna go to my spreadsheet, and let's see who number 6 is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is Tamar Fleming. Congratulations, Tamar Fleming. You have won the first YOLOcast subscription on the channel. So I'm gonna make a note of your name, and I've got your email there. I just want to make sure. I'll come back and I will send you an email in the next 7 days, probably tonight or tomorrow. It just depends on when I got some free time. It might be sometime this weekend though. But all it's going to do is I'm going to confirm that you are aware that you won, Tamar, and then I'm going to send you a link that you need to set it up with YOLOcast. Okay, and they'll help you get set up from there. Congratulations. All right, now we get to do our next giveaway. All right, drum roll, please. I'm gonna reset it. And survey says number 2 winner is number 4. So let's go down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. Steve Bainey. Steve, I did not calculate that. I am just the messenger, my friend. You have just won yourself a free year of live streaming along with Tamar. Congratulations. Same to you as well, Steve. I will send you an email hopefully this weekend. Let me make sure I got a good email address for both of you all. Okay. It looks good on my end. So as long as you guys put it in properly, I will send you that email. And if you don't hear from me, you can reach out to me on my website, because if the email address is off just by one letter, it won't get to you. So feel free to reach out to me sometime this week if you don't get anything by the end of the weekend, right? So Sunday comes by and Monday's here and you don't see anything from me, you can feel free to reach out to me. Congratulations. So Should I put that in the chat? Look, should we put the, I'm not going to put the names in the chat. I don't want to do that. I don't want to put anybody on blast on the internet, but congratulations, Steve. Woohoo. I agree. I agree. I agree. So Tamar. Okay. All right. All right. So Tamar won and Steve won, and I'm just making sure I didn't miss any comments. Congratulations, you all. Thank you again for joining and supporting the channel. I'm just excited that you guys are getting some value out of using FreeShow. I know that it is a lot to take in. It is an unbelievable app. The actual developer was on the line with us earlier today. I'm actually going to be seeing him this weekend. That's when I'm heading out of here. I'm going to North Carolina to connect with him. We're going to do a presentation for some worship leaders. Be praying for us, please. He flew in all the way from Norway. I'll be driving up. Pray for safe travels for everybody to get back home at the end of the weekend. So it's going to be a fun event. And I look forward to connecting with you guys and making some more videos. Keep asking questions in the comments on any of the videos you run into. Like I said, I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to go back and start looking at older videos and kind of revamping them, because this new user interface, it makes all of the old videos kind of look archaic. And so I need to update all of those major videos in terms of features and things like that we've talked about in the past that you may have grown with me on, and you've watched those at one point. And now that feature is there still, but it's improved and enhanced in so many ways. We got to keep those things up to date. And so it's more like maintaining the library now. Elevated AV Pro says, yo, hey, what's going on? What's going on, Elevated AV? Let me know. Do you got a question for me before I wrap up here? I'm doing my closing speech. Let me know if you got a question for me before we get out of here. But again, I want to thank you guys for being a part of this particular process and journey. And it looks like my face is covered up. Let me see if I can move Tiny Gary over a little bit. I'm going to move me over a little bit so I'm not covered up by my logo. I think I was covered up by my logo if I'm looking at this preview properly. But the idea of this channel is to continue to grow. Brian brought up some good points as to ways that we can grow, because it's not just interacting with the software of FreeShow, but interacting with programs that interact with the software, like Companion, like OBS. And those have been some things that I've touched on and dabbled with a little bit, but I also want to be sensitive to the fact that I know everybody that's coming into this may not want that, but at the same time, there's some that do and have developed and progressed and already have some skill sets and some comfort with FreeShow and want to go on to some advanced things. We're going to do the best we can to make that. My wife made a good suggestion. I think you guys have done that too. Brian might have brought it up to me too, is that, hey, make some playlists that talk about intermediate, talk about advanced, and even OBS and live streaming and all that stuff. So we'll see some cleanup hopefully happening in the next couple of weeks and months. With this new opportunity, I've been pretty busy. So bear with me as we do more traveling and more work and things like that. Thanks. You worked with me a couple of weeks ago at Mount Zion Baptist Church. Ah, my man, what's going on? South Carolina. Yeah, I remember you right there. I remember that, my man. Welcome. I'm glad you got to catch up. Have you been on the whole time, or did you just get in? If so, check it out. We talked a lot about a lot of cool questions, right? A lot of people had some good questions. Next time, I think next Free Show Friday, I'll do a review of everything that you see on the Free Show website, all those features that you may have seen when you first started talking and learning about Free Show. I'm going to do a recap of all those features, which I've never done, like an overview of how they work. And then we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, welcome, my friend. Welcome back. Good to see and hear from you. We did a giveaway already. We did a YOLOcast giveaway. We'll be doing that at the last Friday of each month. Okay. And if you are curious how YOLOcast works, I want to encourage you, those, especially Steve and Tamar, if you have not seen it already, go back and look at that video I made of, it's called YOLOcast live streaming. Let me see here. I'm just checking out. This is on my channel. So the deep dive into live streaming with YOLOcast or YOLO Live is, this one is about YOLOcast. So if you do a YOLOcast search for under my channel, you'll find it here as well. But this one is directly what you'll see and use in terms of the program and the way it works. And it allows you to do a lot of cool stuff. And my favorite thing with it is it allows you to integrate your live stream right directly into your website. And I say that as I'm here on YouTube talking to you guys, but the cool thing about that is, I don't have to go over here, but the cool thing about it is if you want your church to not have to be on YouTube, but still have your live stream on your website. I know a lot of ministries, they don't like to have to compete for eyeball space, because people are going, it's like social media to me too, with Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. People are usually scrolling through and you're just one page out of 1,000 they're going to see in the next 20 minutes. And so if you wanted people to be able to have a direct connect and commitment to you and what you're providing, you can make it on your website using that YOLOcast account. So check that out. Let me check, make sure no more questions. Just got in, man. I'm sorry. I'm glad that you got to get in, but I'm about to get on out. I'm about to head up, not to South Carolina, but to North Carolina. I got to go we're going to be doing a conference called Renewed Worship, I believe. I should know that, but it's going to be fun. I can tell you that much. We're going to have a good time talking with some worship leaders. I'm trying to see if I can find the name of it real quick. I don't see it real quick on my calendar, but yeah. So you guys have a great rest of the day, and we will be in touch. God bless you all. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope it helped you in a major way. Now, at this point, most people would ask you to like and subscribe, and I think that's great. But my goal is a little bit different. My goal is to empower as many people as possible all over the globe. And there's one way that you can really help me do that. And that is to leave a comment below with a question, a thought, how this video may have helped you, or things that were left out that you still have questions about. And to share this video with someone just like you. Someone who is looking for answers, someone who's curious and wants to grow. With your help, I believe we can build a community of people that want to grow together. So until next time, God bless.